Okay, just got done talking with my mom. She's very camera shy, so I'm not taking the camera in there. And now we're gonna move on to the next thing on my list, which I don't even know where that is because my list is in the truck. So, let's get going. So, quick story. Just left mom and dad's here. This is still mom and dad's place here, where I grew up. This house, right there. Okay. Real quick story. He was a farmer, and his son, he actually lost his son walking from the barn to the house one day. Electric storm. No shit, the electricity just boom, caught him on the way from the barn into the house. That was only, Christ, maybe 10 years ago, something like that, 15, probably 15 years ago now. So to sum up the whole farm story, what I learned, and I'm just going to pull over right here because I'm going to show you the next property right here. But what I had learned from that was a good work ethic. I was taught to work hard for something. If you want to eat, you worked. It's not like today where everybody's on welfare and they're all just getting these free handouts everywhere. And I don't mean everybody obviously on welfare, but enough. It wasn't like that at all. So we worked. So this farm, my dad's is just right back here. We just rounded the corner. I'm about 1.5 miles away from it. I wanted to show you this place right here. So if you can kind of show them that place. That is Louis Spicula's, and Louis was a guy that I worked for. He was a potato farmer, a Polish guy, wonderful guy. Every day for lunch he would come out and he would take big potatoes for us. He would grab them out of the bins and he would jam a steel spike like this down in that potato, and he'd set them on our heater that we had out there, this wood heater. And they'd sit there for probably an hour, and then that steel spike would make them cook from the inside out. And he would bring a tub of butter and salt and pepper, and we had potatoes every day. Once in a while, if he wanted meat, he would get some meat, and then he'd have us come in the house and sit down and eat with him. You know, it was really cool. He was a wonderful guy to work for, and I would ride my bike from the farm down here. So I actually had 2 jobs, and it was good. It was a good life. So what I learned, like I said, is to work hard for something. If you want something, you work for it. So I worked hard. I got my bike, and you know, I paid for a lot of things. A skateboard I can remember that I wanted to have, a little jumpsuit thing for school that I wanted to have, and I needed extra money because we didn't have it at the farm. So anyway, that's that. All right, moving on to the next thing. I had to turn around and go back the other way. I'm going that driveway right back there. Okay, so now after I got done on the farm, I married my wife. My wife was 16 years old. I was 18 years old. I was a senior in high school and ended up dropping out of school to raise our family, basically, because she was pregnant with our first boy and our first child. And so that same year, my brother got married to, and my older brother, of course, because I'm the baby of the family, he got married to another girl, and my dad pulled us aside one day and said, boys, there's not enough room on this farm to raise 3 families. So I said, well, my brother liked dairy farming more than I did. And I said, okay, well, you know, my brother's name is Keith. I said, Keith, why don't you stay on the farm? You like it more than I do. I said, I'll go into the city and find a job. Well, the city was this little bitty city of Anago. And back in the day, you couldn't find a job here. There were no jobs to be had. You had to be relation to somebody to get a job. There was so much ass kissing going on here. So I said, okay, well, I'll move to the big city. I moved to Milwaukee. It was 3 hours away. And I found a job instantly. It's not like today where the jobs are everywhere because nobody wants to work, the younger generation here, whatever. But anyway, I moved to Milwaukee. I did a stint there. I worked for McDermott Q Stick Manufacturing, building Q Sticks, and I learned to play pool there. Those guys were really super pool players, and so we did a lot of hustling and shit like that. So anyway, when I came back, I took a job in construction. So I was, you know, a general contractor. I was building buildings, and one of the buildings I built, well, I started in Milwaukee, and then I heard they were building this building up here in Anago, which is my hometown. And I was like, well, hell, you know, I'd like to be on that project. So I asked my foreman if I could, and he said, yeah. And so anyway, that's right up here, and the building was a Kmart. Okay, so when I moved back to Anago, because I was like, okay, I kind of made my mind up. I want to be home now. I've kind of had it with the big city life for a while. So I came back to Anago because I don't want to raise my kids in a big city. I want them to have a good upbringing here in the country, you know. But anyway, this is our small town of Anago we're in right now. And the Kmart building was right up here. So when I helped build this building, and at night I was going to school for police science because I thought I wanted to be a policeman. And I'd also gotten my private detective license, and I did a stint there for, I don't know, probably 10 years or something as a private detective. And but anyway, while I was working here, they offered me a job, you know, because our work was done. The building, this whole complex was built. And then we had to move on. And if I wanted to work with the company, I had to move on with them. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stay by my parents here. My brothers and sisters were here. So that's what I did. I took on a job as a loss control manager for Kmart, which was right there. This whole thing was Kmart. Now you've got Sears, People's, Dunham Sports in there. You know, things change hands. That's what they do. But I just wanted to show you what I did. I'll show you a cool thing I did all the time. Let me get around to the back of the building here. Because I was the security guy, I would have to do these exit strategies. And so exit surveys they were called. And you'd basically just hide in different spots, and you'd sit for an hour and watch what happens. So one of the biggest busts I ever got was back here in receiving. Our guy was a truck driver that was just robbing us blind, and so I ended up catching him. But I'm going to show you where I was hiding. Catch this guy. All this came up in here, all these apartments and whatnot now that never used to be here before. This was all just fields. This was all dairy farms and stuff through here. But now you can see, you know, progress. So what I did and where I hid, get around this guy, you can see that was the back of Kmart right there. Okay, now where that semi was there, look to the left, the other semi door, and there's a little crook in the roof line up there. Do you see that little step in the roof line? That's where I used to hide, and I would catch these guys forever and a day stealing out of these trucks back here. So it was pretty cool. So anyway, that's the Kmart thing. Now I'm going to take you over. I'm going to show you a place. When I was working here, and I got through the whole police science and all that stuff, I started the lawn care. Now, when I started lawn care, I just had a buddy that was doing it, and he told me there was decent money in it, and so I got involved with that. And I'm going to show you the first place that hired me to actually do their lawn care for them. And that is just up the street a little bit, or down the street. Our little town of about 8,000 people is just bustling today. But anyway, I'll pull right in here. I don't think there's a funeral going on. This is a funeral home. And the Bradleys. So if you want to show them the Bradleys. This was my very first lawn mowing job. So, and this was a huge project because all I had was a push mower and this old Murray mower. And we had to do all of this. There's a big lawn here, goes across in the back, on the other side of the building, back in through there. And this was a big job. And my wife and my son Georgie and Nikki, I believe, we had them for many, many years until they hired their own maintenance person to do them. But we had them forever. And so they gave me my first chance at mowing, my first opportunity. And I realized that we made good money there, and we would do it after work. Like I say, for sure, you know, my wife and Georgie and Nikki, Cole wasn't even born yet. But so the kids helped. I can remember the Murray mower. I can remember my son coming up to me saying, "Dad, the mower broke." And I said, "Well, what happened?" And we walked over by it, and the wheel had snapped right off the thing. You know, they were just made cheap. They're just cheap throwaway mowers is all they were, but that's all we can afford. Matter of fact, at my dad's, that black trailer that was hooked on behind my dad's truck was the first trailer I ever had. We built that by hand. And that's the first trailer. I mean, he had an old axle from something, and I should have showed you that. But anyway, hopefully you got to see it in the film earlier. If you didn't, I apologize for that. But that was our first thing. We just had this cheap old wooden trailer, and that's how we got our start. So since then, we have done just, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients, and come a long way with that. So now we're into the whole mowing and the landscaping and all that stuff now. All right, so here's just a little personal thing. This used to be my grandfather's house right here. Okay, he used to have a barn here. We used to milk cows here. I can remember as a kid coming over here and working. Here's our land here. It's my dad's land. This is our hunting land out in here. That's a stand that I put up there this year, just out on the field there. We planted some food crops in here for the deer. So I truly enjoy bow hunting and rifle hunting. So I consider myself to be a trophy hunter. I believe me, I've killed my share of the smaller bucks over the years, and I do not want to do that anymore, and I haven't for many years. I just want to shoot trophy bucks. I don't need the meat. I don't want to shoot all them little ones. So I'm a big advocate of trophy hunting. Just a little tidbit about me. In here is where we park our campers. You know, during the summer we get really busy with all the landscaping and lawn care and stuff like that we do. And so we don't get a lot of time to go anywhere. We used to have a place on the lake that we would park our camper year round and go, but we don't even have time for that anymore. So we just park it here on the hunting land. We come down here, that's a bow target area right there, that mound of dirt basically that's covered in grass right there. All right. And then we're gonna go down here, and this is the food crop that we put in for the deer. You can kind of see how that looks a little different here. Probably a little soft. It's amazing. Today is December 1st, I believe, and we're not covered in snow. It's crazy this year. We've had a lot of snow already, but it just keeps melting off. So anyway, that's just one of the places I have stands that are all over throughout the woods here and stuff. And I'm going to drive back in here. I have a camera up, and I like to bait the deer. I bait them year round because I feel that it's part of my obligation to try and help these deer throughout the rough winters that we have here, you know, especially the little ones, because it's hard for them to make it. Sometimes when you get snow that's 3 feet deep, it's hard for them little guys to make things happen. So, but anyway, you can kind of see here, that was my grandfather's house right there, and spent a lot of time here too. I loved my grandparents. George and Louise was their name, and it looks like my dad has been out here because I can see, what has he got, pumpkins? Looks like pumpkins he put out. This is my dad's shack. I actually shot a beautiful trophy buck right here last year. I'm still waiting to get that back from the taxidermist. So I'm gonna throw out some bait here and then I'll move on. Okay, so another thing that I like to do, aside from just baiting the deer, and I like to see the deer, I like to watch them, but I also like to video them, or here, take pictures of them with our cane cameras. So, on this guy, I already switched this chip out, but just make sure it's running right. I like to watch these, a hobby I have. I like to go home at night. These guys hunt when I can't, so I don't even like to come out here and hunt areas like this until I know there's trophy bucks in the area, unless it's a, you know, like weekend, like a Sunday or something where I don't have anything else to do. I'd rather come out here and just sit and watch a deer, even if there are no trophy bucks, just to watch the deer. So just a personal hobby of mine, that's all. All right, let's move on.